Welcome to
Grab Life by the Horns.
Powered by Legacy Builders Global, and we are Jennifer Pecan and
Jan-Mark Pecan. Hello and welcome to the next episode of Grab Life by the Horns. And today we're going to talk about the topic why 97% of people, and that's just a rough estimation, I believe it's maybe even more, cannot change and don't want to change. It's a really interesting topic. Okay, this is going to be an interesting podcast today. Jennifer is already laughing very hard. And the point on change is, the interesting thing is everybody wants everyone to change but themselves. We expect our significant other to change, our kids to change, our parents to change, our business partners to change. But when somebody tells us maybe you should change it, we're like, wait a minute, that's me. I'm not gonna change just for you. So how is it that it's actually so hard for people to change? Like, what are your thoughts on that? Except for that you are laughing like crazy.
Why are you putting this topic so in this joking format? But it's okay. And
maybe something light to start with, because it's gonna go hard anyway.
And the rest it's 3%. So like there's no much more. Like okay. Anyway, like my thoughts about this is I have to correct myself. Because you started already so strange and weird. Yeah, it's very difficult. It's really difficult to change yourself, and the most painful thing and most painful answer is actually if you have if you have a situation and the person tells you, you know what, like this person just found your trigger. Guess what? Remove your trigger and then you have no problem anymore. So I think this is the most painful and most uncomfortable answer you can get from another person. And you know, they are damn right. So this is actually for everything you can have in life, in business and in life. It doesn't matter, it's your children, or it's your family and friends, or it's in business. Like if you get triggered by something, you found just another construction zone, and this is uncomfortable because working on yourself and working on your mindset and on your self-development is super exhausting, and there is another change coming up, and this is why, you know, like in the beginning when we started, we heard this saying from our coach, like, fell in love with changes, and we just took it like it is. But to be honest, like, I think I just now realized while we are talking about this, what it really mean. What does it really mean? Like, fell in love with changes, because you have to be able to change every day when you figure out there is a construction zone, and you have to change yourself in order to fix that. And get more relaxed, get another perspective on this view. Like, if you thought, well, I behave in the right way in this situation, and you realize maybe, you know, there is another perspective, you can behave in a different way as well, and it's not against your core values, but you have to stay calm and balanced inside, and you still need to be focused on your goal. This is really difficult. I'm not so sure like how you feel with that, but for me, like, I can understand why 97% of people don't want to change. It's really tough.
Well, I agree with it to definitely to some degree. The thing what comes into my mind is that when you accept or when you realize that it's you that should be changing all the time, and that change is actually rather a chance than like a threat, and that if you change, you are in control because you decide in which direction you change, because the world around us is changing every day, every minute basically. It's all the time. There is new inventions, there is new trends, new things, new opportunities, new threats, everything. It's constantly there. If you change and you decide I'm gonna go to the right direction or to the left direction, then it's your choice. If you don't like initiate that change, if you are not like that person that constantly says, okay, I'm good at that, now I'm changing and I'm doing something else additionally, it doesn't mean that you should not do the other stuff, then the changing world around you will force you to change anyway at one given point. You might be able to, like when people are really good in a job, like let's say a secretary, that is very good in answering the phone and routing the calls and everything. Now there are services that you can book virtually that do the same thing. So if your boss all of a sudden discovers that service and that it's really cheaper to have somebody like in a call center answer with the sentences you give them and writing you an email who called, then actually it's your job might be, if you are that secretary, you might be out of the job if your job is only to answer the phone and not like to do a lot more, because secretaries usually do a lot more than just answering the phone. It's just like an example. But then the world is going to force that change on you. If you as a secretary would have, like in that example, decided, hey, I'm also getting really good at typing and I'm really good at organizing the calendar, and right now we're watching Suits, so if you become like Donna in that example, she's like much more than just like a typical secretary. But if you look at that example, and it's actually a good example, if you are able to change yourself into her, and I don't say you should become her because you should stay yourself, but if you can adapt in the same way, then you become indispensable to the other person, because the other person likes that you are changing all the time, and that in every situation you know exactly what to do. And you are like a loss, and it's a risk to lose you, but you are then in control, basically, and not like your employer, your boss, or whatever, because every skill you add is a skill that somebody else might not have, that adds value to you as a person, and that brings more value to the company, and that's gonna be recognized.
You know, I just remember the other day we had a Clubhouse room, and it was about the different colors of if you do personality tests. And there was a question coming up, if it's really needed that you are hustling, becoming better every day. What would be your answer? Why you're laughing? And what would be your answer to that?
Well, I'm laughing because I had to think about what our coach said when there was the question, am I a left brainer or a right brainer? And his answer was, well, you are definitely a right brainer, because no left brainer would ever ask that question. And I had to think about that. What was the question again?
Okay, my left brainer here. Still focused always. The question was, like, if it's really needed to change, to hustle in order to change all the time, can you not be satisfied with what you already reached and achieved? If it's really a need to change on a daily base, or like the constantly base anyway.
Okay, I think there are two points. The first point is what you already reached, like financially, like in life, whatever your goals are. You have reached a certain level in life, and most of the time that's like a certain financial level. Now, or a career level, however you want to put that, but it's like both. And then there is a constant change. And I think even to keep that level, let's say you are making $100,000 a year, just to pick a round number. Even to be able to make that 100,000, or adjusted by inflation, of course it's going to go a little bit up, but to make the value of $100,000 today for the next 20 years, you will have to change for the next 20 years constantly. Because if you are, like, for example, like one thing that is changing right now is the automotive industry. They are changing basically from the normal gas engine towards electric cars. And that change is going way faster than most of us realize right now. If you talk to industry insiders, you really see what's going up. It's like a war. And if you today make 100,000, and that's not a lot of money for a very good engineer that can build a combustion engine, can design it and stuff like that. But in order to make in 10 years 100,000, you will have to be a much different engineer, because there might not be any combustion engine in 10 years. If you see right now, a lot of countries are pushing that by 2030, 2035, they will not allow any combustion engine cars to go on the road. Now, if your job and you are the best in designing a combustion-based engine, and there will be no engines manufactured in 10 years, guess what? In order to make that amount of money, so let's say, to stay with your words, to keep what you already have reached, you need to massively change in order to be relevant in the future. And I think that's the thing, when people talk, they are confusing relevance with experience.
Yeah, that's a good point. My answer was a little bit different in order, because we spoke about this personality tests, and there are different types in a team available, and this is great that you have different types and different personalities in a team. And you need the keeper in a team as well. And I saw him with these questions more as a keeper, to be satisfied with his life. He wants that everything stays like it is, and that there's not that much changes. And on the other side, you need this very driven persons as well. They are hustling to change and to make big changes as well. You need all of these components in your team, because then you can really have great discussions about the different ideas and projects, and find the right solution, because the one extreme is not really good and the other extreme is not good as well. So you have to find a compromise. And this question showed me that he is more related to be a keeper, be satisfied with what you have. And it does not mean, if you find yourself now more related to the keeper, it does not mean that the hustler is not happy at all, because they're always looking for the next. This is just another lifestyle, and a lot of people don't understand that. If you are a hustler, and if you are looking for the next level and what's next, this is a lifestyle, because you get bored if you be in this keeping position. You need the change, because this makes your life interesting. And you are happy with what you have, and you're really grateful with what you have. And for me, I'm more the hustler. I'm always looking for what's next. And Jan Mark as well. And we are really pushy in this sense. So, but that does not mean that we are not happy and grateful what we have right now. It's just, we know there is so much more possible. Yeah, there are so much more opportunities, and there's so much more we can achieve and reach. And we are just curious and really want to, to see what we are able to be, and what is the best version of ourselves. So it makes fun, and it makes us satisfied to find out every day, to be a little bit better every day. And there are just different types of people. They are looking for some of them, they try to to stay who they are and how they are, and there are people they are still looking for the difference. But this is and what you said, Jan-Mark, is a really, really good point, because the world is changing even faster than it was, like, if you look from like the past years or decades or like hundreds years.
I mean, if you look at like how the world changed 10 years ago,
exactly.
to today is a total difference.
Exactly. So the changes are really necessary in order to keep your standard. And this is I think this is super underestimated for a lot of people. They think like if they keep we can take another example as well, and I'm sure like you cannot hear it anymore when we take the example of your retirement plan. A lot of people think like if they go to work and the government takes care of the retirement only, they will have like a good life once they're retired. And this is not the case, because like your standard will be really, really low once you're retired. And this is like you have to grow in order to keep your standard.
Well, yeah, I mean, retirement plans is a good thing. It's like money in general is like if you talk about that, then like one of the things I found, and this is a number that is really frightening. If you look at all the US dollars ever printed, ever since the US dollar became a currency in the US, 20% of all the money, and 20% is a lot, of all the money was created in the last year. In 2020, they created 20% of all the money they've ever created. Now, if you look at that, and this is nothing compared to what Biden is right now proposing on adding to that, they will probably create another 20% this year. So in like 2 to 3 years, or let's say at least in the next, including last year and then the next couple of years where this infrastructure plan comes, if that goes through, they will probably create 50% of all of the dollars in 5 years. And the US is now like, since a couple of years, a country. So it's like if you just, it's like a blink of an eye in the history. And this is really frightening, because this is what brought the Roman Empire down. This is what brought many of the successful republics and empires down, was inflation that they created themselves. And it led inflation was what led us to World War II. All this stuff, if you look at it, and this is also the thing, is there are certain things that will always repeat themselves. Like it is like if you look at stock prices, how they go up and how they go down is always kind of the same. Yes, it's called the tech bubble, the housing bubble. In 1640, it was the tulip bubble. So I mean, if you look at all the different things, it's like every time people say, yeah, this is not gonna happen again. Well, it is happening again. It's just gonna have a different name. And so if you like don't change your behavior, for example, if it comes to that, in how you look at money, how you look at your retirement is one thing. That's a very long-term thing for most people. If you are not like in your 60s right now, then it's a rather short-term view. But everybody else is like 10 years plus is what humans usually perceive as a long-term. We have a lot of time, 10 years, a lot of time, and tomorrow you are dead. But the point is, when you don't change how you deal with the money, how you make money, how you keep your money, and how you treat your money, then you will also have big problems going forward, because the like, for example, if you buy real estate companies, it doesn't matter. If you buy an asset, and an asset is something that produces money at the end. That's the definition. I go with the definition of Robert Kiyosaki there, and I think he's right on that definition. An asset produces money. Now, today that money might be the dollar, the euro, the Australian dollar, whatever your currency is. It's producing some kind of a currency that you can exchange for bread, housing, vacations, whatever. This is something that is most likely not gonna change, because if we look back, like all the histories, even if we go back to the Roman Empire, to the Egyptian Empire, Babylonian, like as long as there's written history, it was always like that. You had merchants, you had people manufacturing something, so they had businesses, they created assets, they had real estate, and there were people paying for the goods, the services, the housing, whatever. So it always worked in that kind of way. Of course, like the Romans, first of all, they had gold coins, they had silver coins, then they had copper coins. It doesn't matter, but the asset produced something you could exchange for something else. So if you have an asset, it's gonna, regardless to you, if tomorrow there's a euro, or you are going back to the Deutschmark, or you have a US dollar, or it's gonna be the US derivative, or whatever they're gonna name it, or the digital dollar, or whatever, it doesn't matter, because your asset is gonna produce money. While if you don't change from saving money, you're gonna have a problem, because if you save money, they will give you, like what they did in euro, they said for every euro is 1.95 Deutschmark. That was the exchange rate. But that's an exchange rate you cannot control. So if you saved a lot of money, you might have almost lost half of your money and a lot of purchasing power with it, because the prices did not cut in half. And if you do that, if you rent out real estate, for example, then that real estate is producing money. Your loan gets cut in half, your rent gets cut in half, and then you start increasing your rent again, while your loan is not increasing. So it's like, there you have something where it's really relevant, because you brought that up, and I'm glad you brought that up. You have to change your perspective towards money. It's one of the most, and where money comes from is one of the most important changes. And to add to that, and then I would give it back to you, is I think it's hard for a lot of people, it's hard to change, because in order to change, you have to accept that you are the only person responsible for your life, in order to be able to change. And I think this is what sometimes makes it so hard, and sometimes, especially in the beginning, until you get used to it, makes it painful, because you realize, okay, if something goes wrong and I have to change, I first of all have to accept the responsibility that it was me and me alone that brought me into that situation.
Yeah, that are really good points, and I love the comparison as well to the changes of the money with the money as well, because you can see this here really clear what it really means if you're not changing. So now we figured out, like, people who want to change or have fun changing on a daily basis or a regular basis, and people who don't want to change. But I want to open another bottle as well here, because there are people out there as well, they realize, okay, they have to change in order to achieve their goals, but then it comes to the change itself. And that means as well that you have to go through a process, and this process is not really easy if it comes to, and here is Siri again. It's really funny that Siri is sometimes popping up without even like calling her. So there is, if you have your goals in mind, and in order to achieve them, you have to have discipline and a structure in order to get there. And I realized, especially like in the last few days, a lot that it's to keep the change and to be there, you have to be really disciplined and structured. You have to have rules, and you have to follow the rules. And there are people, it's tough for them to follow the rules or to accept them, because they might not have the same goals, or even if they have the same goals and they're out of, they're just off track, coming back on track, it's really tough for them. So this is like, it takes a while until you get this goal and or until you achieve this goal. And then you really have to follow every single day the steps and getting better and better on a daily basis in order to make this huge change. And this is super difficult, especially for people who are not really disciplined. And if you have, like, it depends on your goals as well, but for some of them it's really tough to have a call on a monthly basis. And we can, I talk with experience for our clients, it's tough for them, to have on a monthly basis a call in order to reach their goal in 3 to 5 years period of time. So it's really tough for them to get this accountability on a monthly basis. Then we do this as well on a weekly basis with our mastermind groups and accountability partners, that we keep and we hold us accountable on a weekly basis in order to reach our goals. And then we have as well partners or closer people, we do this on a daily basis. And today, for example, Xenia, our partner, she was holding me accountable in order to do our walk we do three times per week. She was just calling while I'm talking to you, so she heard her bell ring. And she held me accountable that we go for the walk. I would not, to be honest, I had a short night, I had to get up really early, and if she would not asking for the walk, I would not go out for the walk. I would rather than have another coffee or take a shower in peace instead of hustling and rushing in the morning in order to get everything done. And I was really happy that she did it. And this is not a comfortable situation in this moment. You are happy afterwards that you did it, but in this moment, it's not always comfortable. And this is what a lot of people are missing or not seeing, or once they're experiencing that, they don't like it. And I see this as well, with my mom. She is here, after, we don't see each other, for 8 months. And she lives a really comfortable life for herself. She does not really hustling around, and from time to time she makes, days like this. But seeing our life, how structured it is in order to get what we want, she does not really like that. And it's really tough for her to adapt to the situation. And it's tough for me, at least, as well, to keep on track or to keep my track in order to achieve my goals. Because, if you have the opportunity to get a little bit more lazy, then it's tough anyway. But if you have a person trying,
they don't do it on purpose.
Yeah, they don't do it on purpose, but just that you see the other side, it's even harder to keep on track and push through like you would push through every day on a daily basis.
And that is also one of the, if you want to change but don't know how, then it's one of the things that you should definitely be looking out for is an accountability partner. You can always reach out to us. We're more than happy to help you with that. But you can also talk to other people that you know that are disciplined and want to change and have the same kind of willingness to follow through. Because you need that partner that basically is there, is for sports, for mindset, for reading books. You can do Xenia and Juan are doing that. They committed themselves to read a book a week, and then every Saturday, I believe, they meet and talk about that book and put it on YouTube. Whatever, but it's they basically do book reviews, but it holds them accountable. They have to go through that book in that week in order to be able to talk about it. And it's imagine that you will end up having read 52 books in a year and all that input, right? A lot of people may read 1 or 2 books per year, and the people that read a lot of books usually don't read a lot of business books or motivation books. It's like more like romance type or like saga type of fantasy stuff. So there are all the things, and it's like a change is never about this big leap forward where you are like, okay, I need to lose like 10 kilos and I'm gonna lose 5 kilos in a week. It's not about that. It's about doing like when we changed our diet and changed to mostly a vegan diet, no milk products and stuff like that. It's about there are people like we that are pretty radical in those changes and say like, okay, from tomorrow on we're gonna do that, and we're gonna finish whatever is in the fridge, because we're really bad at throwing stuff out that we already bought, because it's like it's already produced and we don't want to let it go to waste. But after that we just don't buy it anymore, and we are pretty strict and able to manage that. But if you are not that type of a person, or that makes you brutally uncomfortable, then like maybe maybe like leaving like the sugar out, or not eating anything after 8, so not having any snacks while you are on the couch in the evening. It's like then you do these changes. Or if you want to change your financial situation, then it's maybe if you have 2 Starbucks a day, make it 1, and you're gonna save every day $7. And if that is like you do that every weekday, you make the math, right? It's $140 every month that you can put towards investment, and without that you really have to go through a hard thing. So it's not about like changing from your nice comfortable lifestyle to a frugal lifestyle, not spending any money on you, and putting everything in investments. That's one way to do it. Of course you're going to be far more successful if you do those hard cuts, because it's going to go faster, but you can do like little changes every single day. Is like it's more worth about. It's gonna have a compounding effect.
Well, I would love to end this episode as well with the quote, like, you will sacrifice anyway. You decide, and it's your choice if you want to sacrifice now or later.
Yep.
And this is basically it. And once you understood this, it's easier to make the choice. You sacrifice now a little bit more in order to have a better life later. But this is like totally up to you, and it's your choice. You are fully responsible for your life and for your decisions. And well, I'm curious if you want to change a little bit now, and
Me too.
and please let us know. With this, we leave you for this week, and looking forward to talk to you next week. Have an amazing week. Bye, guys.
Thanks for listening. Bye bye.
Do you want to get paid? Introducing Legacy Builders Global, where everybody gets paid. We don't create investors. We create legacy builders. Legacy Builders Global. Visit us at www.legacybuildersglobal.com.